Luka walked slowly towards her room. She saw Lukmai and Kanchan chatting with her parents at the dining table. Luka, come here, Kanpin called. Luka approached and sat next to Lukmai. Have you eaten? Kanploy asked. Luka just nodded. Luka, Daddy is planning to set you up with the child of Daddy's friend, Kanpin said. He deliberately provoked Luka. Dad, please. Luka is grown up. Don't plan something that makes me sick. Besides, I already have a boyfriend. Luka replied. If you have a boyfriend, why don't you bring him home? Kanpin asked. He's afraid you'll kill him, Dad, because he made me bruised, Chun replied. Is it true that your lover beat up Chun, but what was the problem? Kanpin asked. Luka immediately glared at Kanchan. I've met him several times. Dad, he's my business partner. It's natural that he beat me up because business competition is very cruel. It wasn't Luka who answered, but Kanchan again. What's the name of his company? Why haven't I heard of it? Vanity Club. But this company was founded by the children of their parents' company, which deals in imports. The company is called Look and Sky, Kanchan replied, smiling sarcastically at Luka. Look and Sky, it's like Vindra's company, Kanpin muttered. It seems like I know him. He's an old friend of mine. As far as I know, he only has a daughter. Kanpin thought for a moment. Luka, are you dating a woman? Kanpin asked when he realized his hesitation. Luka was a little startled. She took a deep breath. Yes, Luka replied briefly. Plock. Kanpin slapped Luka. Everyone was very surprised to see the incident. You dare date a woman, Luka? I never wanted a daughter-in-law at all. You have to end your relationship with her, Kanpin ordered in a high voice. No, I love her. You love her? Kanpin raised his hand again, but Kanploy immediately stopped him. Honey, don't be rude. Remember, Luka is your daughter, Kanploy said. Then Kanpin lowered his hand. Luka, you have to end your relationship with her. Please, Kanpin said, softening his tone. Why are you ashamed if I date a woman? Luka asked back. Dad isn't ashamed. Luka, it's just that an equal marriage has too many risks. I'm afraid you'll have difficulties in your marriage later, Kanpin replied. Luka hung her head. She wiped her tears. But I love her. Dad, Luka said, sobbing. Mommy knows you love her, but there's also truth to what your father said. You have love, but the world has norms. I won't forbid you from dating anyone as long as you're happy, but it's true that an equal marriage has too many risks. Luka. Kanploy hugged Luka, who was sobbing. Ploy, don't spoil her too much. I don't want to know about you loving her and she loving you. You have to end your relationship with her. Kanpin said ... tok tok. The sound of knocking on the door made everyone look at the door. Anna walked into Kanpin's luxurious house. Who are you? Are you Luka's lover? Kanpin asked when Anna was in front of him. Good. You came without my invitation, so I can tell you to stay away from my daughter. Kanpin pulled on this shirt. I came here not as your daughter's lover, but I came to meet Chen and Yurak. Handcuff him, Anna ordered Sam to handcuff Kanchan's hands. What do you mean? Kanchan shouted. Here's his arrest warrant. Anna gave the letter he was holding to Kanpin. Who are you really? Kanchan shouted, struggling. I'm from the police, assigned to arrest you, Anna replied. So you're the culprit of corruption in my company, Chan? Kanpin shouted, raising his hand to hit Kanchan. But Anna had already stopped him. If you want to hit him, let me do it because it's my job, Anna said. Kanpin immediately lowered his hand. You're so evil, Chun. All this time I trusted you, Kanpin shouted. Quickly take him to the car, Anda ordered his men. Find evidence to make his sentence heavier, Anda ordered again. Look, Mai, thank you for your cooperation. I'm sorry if I'm bothering you, Anda said. Look, Mai just nodded and smiled. Who are you really? Luka asked. Kanpin, are you willing to be a witness for this case? Instead of answering Luka's question, Anda asked Kanpin. I'm willing. Are you really her lover, Luka? Kanpin asked again. I'm sorry, I can't answer that because it's my personal matter, so I'll excuse myself. Thank you for your time. Anda walked out of the house, but Luka stopped him. Who are you really? Luka shouted again. Why didn't you ever tell me? Luka asked when she was standing behind Anda. Anda took a deep breath, then turned to Luka. Didn't you yourself not believe me? So why should I tell you about me? Anda replied. Commander, I found the evidence, Sam said. Okay, take him and put him in the interrogation room. I'll follow him after this, Anda replied. Okay, Sam saluted Anda, then got into his car. You're really a good liar, Luka said. Lying about what? To catch a big-time corruptor like Chun, we have to act a little, Anda chuckled. I've been looking for a way to put Chun in jail for a long time, but he's quite cunning, so I have to act a little, Anda continued. Luka wiped her tears. You're really good at acting. You made me fall in love with you, Luka said. Anda was silent. Did you also act to love me? Luka asked. Anda took a deep breath, holding back his tears. I fell in love with you unexpectedly, and I have to admit that I do love you, Luka. Despite all my hatred for you, it was all covered up because my love was too great, Anda replied in a trembling voice. Luka was suddenly silent. Is that enough? If so, I'll excuse myself. Anda saluted Luka, then he left Luka, who was still silent, watching the police car driven by Anda disappear from her sight. Hurry, we have to go to the police station now, Kanpin invited Kanploy. Luka chose to follow. Upon arriving at the police station, the three of them waited in front of the interrogation room. Jenny walked slowly past the three of them. Jenny, Kanploy called. She immediately hugged Jenny. Why are you here, honey? Kanploy asked. Jenny just kept silent. She also held back her tears. Jenny is one of the suspects in the corruption case at Hunter Village. Kanchan and Jenny will be charged with multiple offenses because they were also involved in sexual harassment against Luka, Anda said. Kanploy was very surprised to hear Anda's statement. Kanploy slumped down. Calm down, Kanpin said, hugging Kanploy. Anda then took Jenny to the interrogation room. Jenny, Kanploy shouted when Jenny entered the interrogation room without looking at her. You should go home. Leave the rest to the police, Anda said. Kanpin and Kanploy nodded and walked out, but Luka stayed there. Luka hugged Anda from behind when he was about to enter the interrogation room. Anda was a little stunned. Then he released Luka's hand. Go home, Anda ordered. Then he entered the interrogation room. Oh, Chen and Yurak. How are you? Anda asked, sitting in front of Kanchan. Damn, you're a jerk, Anda, Kanchan shouted. He spat at Anda. Anda wiped his face that was hit by Kanchan's saliva and pulled Kanchan's shirt. Even in the interrogation room, you're still raising your position. You're really cunning, you bastard, Kanchan shouted. Why did you do this to the Sangsupson family? What's your reason? Anda asked. And you too. Why did you get involved with him, Jenny? Anda glanced at Jenny, who kept her head down. I know you're a good friend of Luca, but why are you so cruel to do this to your own friend? You shut up because you won't understand, Jenny replied. I'm just asking. Oh, why can't you relax a little? Anda said. Let me go, Kanchan shouted, struggling. It seems like we can't do the interrogation now. Put them in detention and take off their handcuffs. Anda ordered Sam, who was constantly on standby holding a gun. Sam put both of them in detention. He also followed the order to take off their handcuffs. Die, Kanchan shouted. Ah, Anda shouted when a shot hit his stomach. Sam immediately punched Kanchan until he fainted. Sam closed the detention door and ran towards Anda, who was in pain. Sam was careless. He didn't put his gun back in first, so Kanchan got the chance to fire at Anda. Anda, Sam shouted. Luca, hearing Sam shout, immediately entered the interrogation room. Fire, Anda, Luca shouted, approaching Anda. Ah, it hurts, Anda said softly. Quickly take him to the clinic, Luca ordered. But the doctor is not here, Sam replied. If the equipment is complete, I'll do it. Okay. Sam and Luca carried Anda to the clinic. Upon arriving at the clinic, Luca told Sam to wait outside. Do you need anesthesia? Luca asked Anda. No need, Anda replied briefly. Okay, hold on a little, Luca said. Hey, wait. Are you sure you can do it? Anda asked, holding Luca's hand. Do you doubt me? Luca glanced at Anda. Your face isn't convincing. You relax. I've often operated on injured cats. But I'm human. You can see this. Anda looked at Luca's ID card. You're a young doctor? Anda asked. He was very surprised. Don't you know that your sister majored in medicine? Anda just shook his head. What kind of brother are you? Luca chuckled. Anda just looked at Luca. Are you sure you don't need anesthesia? Luca asked again to make sure. Anda just nodded. Okay. Luca lifted Anda's shirt. Ah, it hurts, Anda shouted. I haven't done it yet, Luca said. Hee, Anda just smiled sheepishly. It's a good thing the bullet wasn't deep, so it doesn't need to go to the operating room, Luca said. She was very careful. Anda winced in pain. His hands were shaking violently. He clenched his fist when the medical equipment touched his skin. Ah, it hurts, Anda winced. Luca just glanced at Anda, then pulled his hand to hold her waist. Hold on a little, Luca asked. Anda just nodded. After 30 minutes, Luca finally managed to remove the bullet from Anda's stomach. You have to change the bandage in 3 days, Luca ordered while tidying up her medical equipment. Okay, doctor, Anda replied. Oh, you're teasing me. Luca chuckled. No, aren't you a doctor? Anda chuckled too. Thank you for your help, Luca, Anda said as he lowered his shirt. You're welcome. Thank you too for helping me back then, Luca replied. Now both of them were walking down the hallway of the police station. How did you know it was me? Anda asked, glancing at Luca briefly. Because of your perfume, Luca replied, smiling. I'm still curious why you became a police officer, Luca asked. Since I was little, I've always wanted to be a police officer so I can catch bad people and protect the people I love. But after my mother died, my father opposed my dream. He said it's better for me to be a ruler like him. Anda took a deep breath. I decided to fight on my own to make my dream come true. I also worked part-time in between training to become a police officer, but I didn't want everyone to know about me because they never believed in my abilities. Anda said at length. Now both of them were sitting on a park bench. There have been many cases that I've handled even though I'm only 26 years old. One of the many cases I've handled is the corruption case at your father's company. I found out everything about Chun until I accidentally met you. Luca, and this happened. Anda continued, chuckling. Oh, you're so smart that you can get the trust to handle such a big case. Even your father's lawyer couldn't reveal the perpetrator. Luca smiled at Anda. I don't need justification. Luca, because in my opinion, when I'm wrong, I'm not a demon. And when I'm right, I'm not an angel. So you don't need to praise me. Anda smiled too. Oh, you're so wise. Ha ha. Luca laughed. But you're also great at your age. Just turning 24. You're already a doctor. I imagine how smart you are to be able to master medical science. Anda asked, thinking a little. Ha ha. You're exaggerating. It's not too difficult if you keep learning. Luca replied. Do you eat medical books, Luca? Anda asked. Ha ha. It seems like I'm still saying by eating rice. Luca chuckled. What's your reason for becoming a doctor? Anda asked. Now looking at Luca. My mother, she got malignant cancer until I lost her. When my mother was struggling to fight her illness, I felt useless because I could only cry. Luca replied. Just like you, I also didn't get support when I wanted to take a medical major. Dad once said that studying medicine was just a waste of time. So I broke his words with my achievements now. Luca continued. Oh, you make me so proud. Your mother must be very proud of you there. Your mother is also very proud. Not your mother, not my mother, but our mother. Anda chuckled. Ah yes, our mother. Ha ha. Luca chuckled too. Anda hugged Luca suddenly. Anda's action made Luca freeze. Your heart is beating so fast, Anda said, breaking Luca's reverie. You're still my lover. Luca, Anda said softly, but Luca could still hear it. What do you mean? Luca asked, glancing at Anda. I won't let you go. I'm sorry, Luca said. Are you going to leave me? Anda asked. He immediately released his hug. No, it's just ... Muach. Anda kissed Luca's lips. He felt he needed Luca's lips to devour rather than hear Luca's answer, which would be rambling. Anda's kiss really turned into licking. Both of them licked each other in the park. Luca, realizing that they were still around the police station, pinched Anda's stomach. Honey, it hurts. Anda winced in pain. I'm sorry. Luca chuckled, stroking Anda's stomach. If the wound gets bigger again, you have to sleep with me. Anda pouted. Why is that? Luca asked. Later, if I cry, who should I hug? Aren't you sorry for this orphan child? Oh, you're too dramatic. Even I'm an orphan. Luca replied, chuckling. Besides, aren't you ashamed of your uniform? Luca asked. What's wrong with my uniform? Yes, you're in uniform, but you're sulking like a little kid. Luca teased Anda. Ha ha ha, but I look handsome when I'm on top of you, right? Anda teased. Luca immediately hit Anda's back. Really? His mouth couldn't be stopped at all. Watch your words. Ha ha, okay honey. Let's go home. Luca just nodded. Both of them walked towards the car, holding hands. Anda opened the car door for Luca, then ran to the driver's door. Hello, victim. Here you go. Anda laughed when some teased him. Luca just shook her head. About 45 minutes. Anda then arrived at Luca's house. He immediately said goodbye to Luka because he still had a lot to prepare for the press conference tomorrow morning. He waved his hand to Luka. Luka did the same. After Anda left, Luka also went into her house. "What are you doing, Dad?" Luka asked when she saw Kanpin peeking through the window. "Is that really your lover, Luka?" Kanpin asked again. "Dad, please, if you want me to end my relationship with him, I'm sorry because I won't do it." Luka replied softly. "It's not like that. It's just that Dad is quite impressed with him. It's no wonder Lookmai likes your lover too." Luka took a deep breath. Then she left Kanpin, who kept bombarding Luka with various questions. Luka sat on her king-size bed. "Are you still thinking about my closeness with Anda?" Lookmai asked her sister, who looked gloomy. "If you love him, you should believe in him. But if you keep doubting, then it's not love, Luka." Lookmai continued. "I love him, but I'm jealous of you, Fi," Luka replied. "I don't even know what you did when you went with him that time." Luka continued softly. "Anda and I were just quiet in the car. He asked a lot about Chen without being suspicious. I told him everything I knew about Chen. I know Chen married me just to get revenge on Dad, but I fell in love with him." Lookmai chuckled a little. "I know Dad almost went bankrupt, so you and I had to work. I couldn't tell Dad because I was afraid of losing Chen, but I realized that my family was more important than my love." Lookmai wiped away her tears a little. "This is all I can do to atone for my guilt," Lookmai continued. Luka immediately hugged Lookmai. She also cried. "I'm sorry," Luka said. "Hey, you don't need to apologize. I should be the one apologizing for not being a good sister to you. I'm sorry I didn't support you when you wanted to become a doctor. If you want to go back to college to study medicine now, I'll be the first to support you, but I've already gotten it." "Fi," Luka replied, releasing her hug. Then Luka took her ID card that was in her bag. "I'm so surprised, but not too much because I know you're very smart. When is the graduation?" Lookmai asked. "Haha, about a month from now," Luka replied, smiling. "Dad is very proud of both of you." "I'm sorry," Kanpin said, wiping away his tears, then walked towards them, followed by Comploy. "Dad," both of them called. Kanpin pulled Comploy into his arms too, until the four of them hugged each other. "I'm sorry, Dad." Lookmai apologized. "It's okay, honey, you're amazing. No one can control their feelings to fall in love with anyone, just like Dad who fell in love with your mom, even though Dad knew she had a husband and a child at that time," Kanpin replied, stroking his two children in his arms. Comploy also cried. She felt very touched because Kanpin's presence in her life made Comploy feel valued. At the police station, "You look very nervous even though you've stood in front of hundreds of reporters several times." Sam chuckled, seeing Anda keep taking deep breaths. "Shut up," Anda replied, still wearing his police uniform. "I guess you must be nervous because this is the first time you've held a press conference without wearing a mask. Are you sure you want to reveal your real identity?" Sam asked to make sure. "Like my promise, Sam, if I succeed in catching Chen, I will reveal my identity," Anda replied, adjusting his tie. He also straightened his name tag on his shirt. He took a deep breath. Then he walked out of the room to meet hundreds of reporters who were waiting for him. The reporters swarmed, running towards Anda, who had just arrived. "Are you the one who succeeded in arresting the corruption suspect, who caused losses of up to 300 trillion? One of the reporters asked. "Yes, It's an honor for me to be involved in handling a case that took 3 years to complete. Anda replied calmly. I also thank the parties who helped facilitate the arrest of the suspect. He continued, smiling continuously. There were many questions from the reporters to Anda. All the questions from the reporters could be answered calmly by Anda. Anda suddenly felt nervous when he saw Luca smiling at him. Is it true that you're dating a woman? One of them asked. Anda thought for a moment. Yes, it's true. She's a beautiful young doctor. Anda smiled at Luca, while Luca raised her hand as if she wanted to hit Anda. She's fierce, Anda muttered, continuing to smile. The press conference was over. The corruption case that resulted in losses of up to 300 trillion finally found a breakthrough. Now the suspect is in the custody of the Bangkok police. Here is what was conveyed by the police who succeeded in uncovering the corruption case that took 3 years to complete. Dad, is that Fianda? Priya asked while they were having breakfast watching TV. No, that kid has no future, Kunveng replied, eating his breakfast. Dad, that's really Fianda, Davy said. Look, Davy ordered. Kunveng looked at the screen. He was very surprised when he saw Anda holding a press conference in a police uniform. This is impossible. Since when did he become a police officer? I didn't even know, Kunveng said, continuing to look at the screen. Kunveng saw his daughter looking so cool in the police uniform she was wearing. Dad, this is the biggest corruption case that went viral about 3 years ago, and Fianda managed to arrest the mastermind. As far as I know, he's Fianda's business partner. He's also the son-in-law of the owner of Hunter Village. But I didn't expect him to commit corruption in his own in-law's company, Davy said, now focusing on her phone screen. I've heard of it and the case just disappeared. No wonder so many people are surprised because the perpetrator is his own son-in-law. The owner of Hunter Village is an old friend of mine. He once offered a collaboration, but I heard that he had received an injection of funds from his son-in-law's company. Kunveng continued. But Dad, I still can't understand. Why didn't Dad know that Fianda was a police officer? Me too. Dad, I'm embarrassed to say he's unemployed. Davy took a deep breath. Fianda is amazing. I once heard that Fianda is the owner of Star Hunter University. Dad, but at that time, I wasn't sure. So I ignored the news, Priya said. Are you serious? Priya just nodded. That kid is really full of surprises. I'm so ashamed of him. Kunveng sat down, continuing to watch the news that showed his son's face. At the police station, Anda was undergoing an ethics trial at the police station. The Pori Code of Ethics trial is a trial to enforce the KEPP Police Professional Ethics Commission against violations committed by Pori officials. Anda Anunda as the main general in the police. I thank you for proving my trust. You are indeed very talented and very clever in catching the white-collar rats who have been living comfortably all this time. Despite my pride in you, I apologize. You will not be recommended for promotion, and you will not receive any awards because you took action outside the police law. You were involved in the assault of the suspect, even though I know you did it to prevent him from escaping. But I also know you used your emotions when you did it. The main general continued. Okay, I apologize for my actions, Anda replied, smiling wryly. The police general just nodded. Excuse me, Anda saluted the 3-star general in front of him. Anda then walked slowly out of the room. He could see Luca smiling as she walked towards him. Oh, it seems like I'm very handsome. So you don't blink your eyes, Anda said, chuckling. No, you're more handsome without clothes on top of me, Luka replied, teasing Anda. We can't do it here. Should we rent a hotel? What if it's in my car so you remember the incident again? Anda chuckled. No, why are you so horny? Luka replied, hitting Anda's shoulder. But you like it. Don't be shy if you want it again. My fingers, besides being able to pull the trigger of a gun, can also make you moan with pleasure. Ha ha, Anda laughed. Luka immediately pinched Anda's stomach. Oh, you're a cop, but your language is dirty. Ha ha, sorry, honey. Anda hugged Luka for a moment. Let me take you home. Anda took Luka's hand. You deserve to be happy, Anda, Sam muttered, watching the two of them. You're jealous? Pamela asked. No, it's just that they make me want to get a girlfriend soon. Ha ha. Sam laughed softly. Then the two of them walked towards the canteen. Anda then arrived at Luka's house, but as usual, he didn't stop by because he had to quickly bring Kanchan's case to trial. Honey, Anda called when Luka had walked a few steps away from him. He immediately hugged Luka. What's wrong? Luka asked in Anda's arms. Marry me, Anda asked. Oh, all of a sudden, Luka replied, chuckling. I want us to be in the same house so I don't keep missing you. You finish your task first and I'll finish mine too. Besides, we can still keep meeting, honey. Okay. Anda released his hug. Muachhh? Anda kissed Luka's lips briefly, then immediately ran to his car. Horny cop? Luka shouted, laughing. Anda just waved his hand and drove his car. Check-lick. Luka opened the door. Dad, what are you doing standing there? You must be peeking again, Luka asked. Hee, why didn't he come in? Luka, you should have invited him in. He's busy, Dad, Luka replied, walking slowly. Hey, wait. Luka, is he really your lover? Kinpin asked again. Dad, that's enough. Luka felt annoyed. He's amazing. Luka, at his age, 26, he already has a high rank in the police. I saw in the media that he's also the owner of the campus where you teach. Imagine how successful he is at his young age. His appearance is so tall. He's handsome too. He also has a sweet smile. No wonder you love him so much, Kunpin said at length. Isn't Dad not wanting a daughter-in-law? Why are you so excited about him now? Luka asked, feeling annoyed seeing her father's behavior. If it's him, I'm willing for you to be with him. Luka, Kunpin replied, chuckling. Oh, you're so picky as a parent. Dad, Luka said, I have to. Dad is sure he will take care of you. All right, Luka replied with a forced smile. Oh, one more thing. Dad thinks he's good at shooting. Dad will ask him to teach Dad how to shoot. Oh, I can't think anymore why there's a woman as perfect as him. If he likes men, Dad will register to be his partner. Kinpin said. Who are you talking about? Pin, you want to cheat on me? Kinploy asked. Where's Luka? You seem to need a mental hospital. Kinploy shook her head. Hee, I'm just amazed by my future son-in-law. Kinpin scratched his head that didn't itch. Aish, you're so fickle. Yesterday you begged Luka to end her relationship. Kinploy taunted. Hehe, Kinpin just chuckled. In Luka's room, Luka sat on her bed. She saw Anda's jacket still with her. Luka got up, took Anda's jacket and hugged it. His perfume still lingered so strongly. Luka smiled. I'm sorry for doubting you. I assure you from now on I will be the one who will always believe in you, even if someday you say you don't love me anymore. Luca said, smiling. In prison, Chun, I want to go home, Jenny sobbed. Not just you, me too, Kanchan replied. Chun, why were we so stupid? We didn't even have time to escape to another country. You're also stupider than me. You're the one who got caught first. Why are you blaming me, Chun? Because it's you. If you hadn't been honest with Anda, I could still be living free, Kanchan replied. You're the one who got me into the situation, and when I got caught, you should have followed. I don't want to be locked up alone in prison. Jenny sobbed even more. That's enough. I don't want to discuss it anymore. Chun, someone wants to see you, Sam said. Who? Kanchan asked rudely. Your sister, Sam replied. Kanchan walked. He saw his sister with a woman younger than him. Fai, Noon called. She immediately hugged her brother. Fai, are you okay? Noon suddenly cried. Kanchan held back his tears. Let go. Aren't you ashamed? Kanchan ordered. Noon immediately released her hug. Noon, listen to me. You have to avenge me to Anda because he's the one who put me here, Kanchan said. Fee, I'm sorry. I can't do it because I love his sister. Noon replied softly. You're disrespectful. Kanchan kicked Noon's leg, causing Noon to fall. Are you happy seeing your brother like this? Huh? Why are you dating a woman, Noon? Kanchan shouted, kicking Noon's body again. Control your emotions. Fine, no matter what. She's your sister, Priya asked. You shut up. Tell him whenever I won't accept you as Noon's lover. Kanchan shouted at Priya. Kanchan stepped on Noon's foot. Don't you think about how I feel, Noon? Kanchan asked. Fee, Noon called. She pushed Kanchan's foot away and prostrated herself at her brother's feet, making Kanchan and Priya very surprised. Then what about me? You never thought about me either. Fai, you don't know that I'm very lonely. Have you forgotten that I only have you now? Noon said. It's only Priya who has been wiping my tears all this time. She's the one who accompanies my loneliness while you're busy with your useless revenge. Noon shouted, still prostrating herself at Kanchan's feet. I did it for you too, Kanchan replied, snapping at Noon. Then with you in prison, what can you do for me? To be honest, I'm very scared that you'll leave me, just like my father and mother. I love you so much. Fai, Noon sobbed even more. Kanchan could no longer hold back his tears. Kanchan pushed Noon away and entered the detention cell without saying a word. Honey, Priya took Noon into her arms. Calm down, Priya said. I'm sorry, Priya. Why are you apologizing? You're not wrong. I look so weak in front of you. Hey, you're great. I'm so proud of you. It's okay if you want to cry because I'm sure Superman has cried too. Is that so? Haha, maybe, but I don't know. Moak Noon kissed Priya's cheek briefly. You can always make me calm down, honey. Thank you. Priya just smiled. Let's go home. We can come back here again tomorrow. Priya invited, helping Noon to stand up. Noon just nodded. Both of them walked out. Hicks, 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 Kanchan cried heavily in Jenny's arms. Calm down, Chun. What kind of brother am I? Why didn't I think about my sister before I acted? If you feel like you're off track, it's because your logic and instincts don't go together. Jenny replied, continuing to hug Kanchan. Jen, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I brought you this far. It's okay. I don't regret it anymore because doing criminal acts. We'll always have a time when we're locked up in prison or shot dead by the enemy. I will make sure you're free, Jen. you have to find your happiness. My happiness is near you. You don't have to fight for me to be free. I'm guilty and I deserve punishment. What do you mean? Kun-chan asked. I won't leave the person I love, Chun, even if I wasn't involved in this case. I will continue to accompany you. Jenny wiped Kun-chan's tears. You love me, Jen? Kun-chan asked. Jenny just nodded. I'm sorry, I was too stupid to realize your feelings. Kun-chan stroked Jenny's face. I'm so touched, Anda said, walking towards them. You, Kun-chan shouted. Aish, you can't be calm for a moment when you see me, Anda replied, chuckling. What's wrong? Are you going to laugh at me? Kun-chan asked. Why would I laugh at you? Chun, for the harassment case you did to Luka. Luka asked me not to follow up on it. Luka only asked you to be accountable for the money you took from your father's company for the past 3 years. Where did you hide the money worth 300 trillion, Chun? I'm sure you saved it because I didn't find any very large transactions from your account. Anda asked seriously. If I tell you, can you make sure I get a lighter sentence? Kun-chan asked. Of course, if you behave well and go through the examination process quickly. You won't be locked up for life, maybe only about 5 years. Can I trust you? Kun-chan asked to make sure again. You can trust me. Where did you hide the money? Okay, I trust you. I hid it in one of the remote cities in Bangkok. You can open the warehouse door with the number 171,202. Kun-chan said. Chun, is that my birthday? Jenny asked. Kun-chan just nodded. Jenny smiled, touched. She wiped her tears. Okay, Chun, if that's the case, I'll go to the place and I'll return all the money to your father-in-law. I will make sure you're free from fines so you don't lose your company. Anda continued. Thank you, Anda. I'm sorry if I acted out of control. It's okay if you don't believe someone can change this quickly. I understand. You must also hate my actions. Please tell Luka I'm sorry. I've forgiven you, Chun. Luka approached the 3 of them. Upon reaching Anda's side, he immediately wrapped his arm around Luka's waist. Thank you, Luka. Kun-chan smiled. I'm sorry, Luka. I'm sorry if I was too much. I should have accepted you as my sister. Jenny held Luka's hand. That's enough. You don't need to apologize. Mom wants to visit you. Will you meet her? Luka asked. Jenny just nodded and smiled. Okay. Continue your intimacy. If you need a room to satisfy your desires, tell me, Anda teased. Yes, I really need it. I feel suffocated, Anda. Kun-chan replied, laughing. Is your chest hurting, Chun? Jenny asked. Jen, not in the chest, but below, Anda replied, laughing. You. Luka pulled Anda's ear. Ha ha ha. I'm scared. Kun-chan teased, laughing. You too. Jenny joined in pulling Kun-chan's ear. Anda decided to go home after being busy taking care of Kun-chan's case for the past few days. He walked slowly. He was nervous to see the reaction of his father and siblings. Check-lick. He opened the door slowly. His gaze met Kunvin's, who was sitting in the living room. Anda hung his head as he approached Kunvang. Kunvang stood up and hugged Anda tightly. You're amazing, Kunvang said in Anda's arms. Thank you, Anda replied, smiling. Why didn't you tell me before? I'm embarrassed by you. Kunvang released his hug. I prefer it when people are proud of my achievements, without thinking about all the difficult things I've been through. Anda chuckled. You're like your mother. She must be very proud of you. And Dad too. Kunvang smiled. Anda shed tears when he saw Kunving saluting him. He wiped his tears and then returned the salute given to him. Fiona, Davy, and Priwa shouted. Both of them immediately hugged Anda tightly. The four of them hugged each other. Anda could no longer hold back his tears. He cried silently in the arms of his two sisters. "You're amazing, Fi. I'm proud of you," said Priwa, who kept hugging Anda. "I'm sorry if I didn't believe in Fi's abilities," Davy said. Anda just nodded. He tightened his hug even more. "You must be very proud of our children," he said in his heart. Kunving imagined if his wife was with him now. Skip, Anda, and Luka were in a remote city in Bangkok. Anda glanced at Luka, then took her hand to enter the warehouse, which was quite far from the highway. "Be careful. You shouldn't have come along," Anda said, continuing to lead the way for Luka. "Am I bothering you?" Luka asked. She stopped walking. "No, but..." Anda's words stopped when Luka let go of his hand. "Carry me," Luka whined. Anda just chuckled and then he squatted down. "Come on, get on." Luka immediately got on your back, smiling. "You're so heavy, honey," Anda teased. "I'll diet if that's the case," Luka replied. "Too bad. I was going to take you to visit the culinary scene in Macau," Anda said. Is it okay for you to be on duty bringing your girlfriend?" Luka asked. "Yes, of course. No one can stop me, Luka. You have to remember, I'm a powerful person in the police, haha." Anda boasted about his rank again. "Oh, it's good that you keep it a secret so you don't keep bragging about it. Haha, aren't you proud to have a lover with a high rank?" Anda asked, laughing. Very proud even though you keep bragging about it," Luka replied. "Haha." Anda just laughed at Luka's answer. Anda lowered Luka from his back. Then he walked towards the warehouse door. He then entered the password given by Kanchan. Click! The warehouse door opened. Anda raised his gun. He pointed it left and right. Even though Anda trusted Kanchan, he still had to be careful, especially since he brought Luka with him. The two of them continued to walk into the warehouse. They saw a lot of piles of money inside the warehouse, scattered everywhere. "When this money goes back to Dad, will Chan be free?" Luka asked. "Haha, no, honey. He's still the perpetrator even though he's kind enough to return it." "Why is that?" Luka was curious. "Because it's still a criminal act. Imagine if I had caught him a step too late. Chen would have definitely taken this money to another country," Anda replied. You really understand the law. I wouldn't be a high-ranking police officer if I was stupid." Luka, Anda chuckled, ruffling Luka's hair because he was smitten. "Haha, I forgot," Luka replied, fixing her hair. Anda just smiled. The two of them walked back to circle the warehouse. Anda and Luka didn't find anything else besides piles of money everywhere. After circling the warehouse several times, Anda accidentally found a room. He pulled Luka to enter the room. "There's a bed in this room. The bed is very soft," Anda said when he sat on a bed that wasn't too big. "But this room is very nice. Chen must have slept here often. There are also many types of alcohol. I'm sure this is the most comfortable place for Chen," Luka continued. She then chose to take a bottle of wine and drink directly from the bottle. I didn't know that a doctor could drink alcohol," Anda chuckled. Anda took the bottle from Luka's hand and took a sip. "Haha, I also didn't know that a policeman could drink it too." Luka chuckled too. "I'm human, Luka," Anda replied, smiling. Anda looked at Luka deeply. He took another sip of the wine in his hand. He aimed his mouth towards Luka. Gluck! Luka felt Anda's saliva mixed with the bitter alcohol in her mouth. I'm very unsure that you've only had sex, Anda. Only the person I love can feel my expertise in having sex. Ah, Luka moaned when Anda squeezed her chest. Why are your breasts so big? You haven't even had a baby, honey, Anda asked, chuckling. Don't you like it? I like it. Anda put his hand inside Luka's shirt. Then he squeezed it again. He shared the alcohol from his mouth to Luka's mouth again. Ah, Luka took the wine bottle from Anda's hand and put it on the table. Luka also unbuttoned Anda's police uniform, smiling mischievously. Luka could see Anda's flat stomach still had a gunshot wound. Anda looked at Luka's naughty hand that kept caressing his stomach, making him aroused. He chuckled, then started licking Luka's thick lips. Both of them licked each other without pause, without stopping. They kept licking, with the alcohol still clinging to each other's lips. Both of them licked without giving a break. Luka pushed Anda away when she felt out of breath. Because both of them played very aggressively, Anda pushed Luka onto the bed. He took off Luka's clothes until he could clearly see Luka's perfect body, naked. He also took off his clothes. Now both he and Luka were naked. He got on top of Luka. Honey, Luka moaned when Anda sucked on her nipple. I have a baby now. Anda just chuckled. He lowered his kiss to Luka's stomach. Before he could reach her Miss.V area, Luka pulled Anda's head and she licked his lips very aggressively. Now both of them were licking each other again without stopping. Anda, who was happy when he got a response from Luka, played wilder. Luka moaned when she felt Anda playing with her Miss.V clitoris. Anda kept squeezing her breasts until he played with Luka's clitoris, making Luka bite her finger because it was so good for her. Do you like it? Anda asked. Very much. Anda was a little stunned to see Luka's already throbbing with clear liquid around her Miss.V. He immediately licked Luka's Miss.V. Honey, Luka moaned. He kept licking Luka's Miss.V. You could see that Luka still wanted more than just licking and sucking. You then crossed Luka's legs and yours, forming a scissor shape. Honey, Luka called. This will be good, trust me. Hold my hand, Anda ordered, and Luka obeyed. Both of them moaned when their Miss.V met. Keep rubbing, Anda ordered. Luka nodded again. Then both of them started moving in and out. Is it like this? Luka asked when she saw Anda already wriggling violently. Anda just nodded. Both of them moaned as their game got faster. Honey, Luka shouted. Yours is so good, Anda said, continuing to move in and out at a fast pace. You too, Luka moaned when Anda pressed his Miss.V against hers. So Luka felt comfortable with Anda entering her Miss.V. Both of their bodies were hot, even very hot, even though the room was air-conditioned. Both of them continued to move there in and out until the room was filled with their moans. Honey, I don't want to stop. It's so good, Luka said. Do you need my finger too? Anda asked. This is enough, Luka shouted when Anda pressed his Miss.V again. Both of them moaned in unison. Both of their breaths were erratic. Both of them moaned long when they each reached their climax. Anda dropped his body on top of Luka. Muak. He kissed Luka's forehead. I love you. I love you too, Luka replied, stroking Anda's face. Muak. Luka kissed Anda's lips briefly, making him smile. Anda got off Luka. He took his clothes and Luka's. As usual, he cleaned Luka's clear fluid first, making Luka wriggle again. Muak, He also kissed Looka's Miss.V again, making Looka startled. Thank you, Looka said when Anda helped her put on her clothes. Anda just smiled, stroking Looka's face. Anda and Looka sat on the bed. They looked at each other, smiling shyly. He took out his phone and saw many missed calls from Song. He chuckled. Looka chuckled too. We're so embarrassing. Looka shook her head. Ha, this is called vitamins. Let's go home. I think the report is enough. Anda pulled Looka's hand. What report? The report of making love with you, Looka asked. Ha, yes, it is. Don't be crazy, Looka warned Anda. Anda just laughed, continuing to hold Looka's hand. Now Anda was sitting in the living room with Kunpin. He was a little nervous when he saw Kunpin keep staring at him. You really don't like men? Kunpin asked. I don't know, but what's clear is that I love your youngest daughter. Anda replied, a little nervous. Well, Anda was surprised because Kunpin's voice was very loud. If that's the case, you should marry my daughter soon, Kunpin continued. Dad, you're making him startled, Looka said, who had just come carrying food. Then she sat next to Anda. Honey, why is your neck? Kunpin asked when he accidentally saw the red mark on Looka's neck. Anda and Looka looked at each other, while Lookmai just chuckled. I was bitten by a mosquito and I accidentally scratched it. Looka replied, Oh, that's it. Kunpin nodded. Anda held back his laughter. Anda and Kunpin were involved in a very lively conversation until Looka could see her father was very enthusiastic when he heard Anda tell stories. They both had the same sense of humor. Even Looka had never seen her father laugh as freely as this. Looka's mind was drawn to a few months ago, when she had a hard time believing Anda. But Looka quickly realized it, so she could see a sight that made her tears escape without Looka's command. You're really amazing, Kunpin praised Anda again, making Anda blush. Your profession is a policeman and Looka is a doctor. Is it okay if you want to get married? Kunploy asked, sitting next to Kunpin. Anda was a little nervous, then he took a deep breath. I don't think there's a problem, because sexual satisfaction is within ourselves. We can't force people to have sex with the opposite sex if they don't want to. I know the world has norms, but I think love is not a crime. Everyone can love each other with any gender or profession. Profession and love are indeed different things, but as long as we can be professional with our work, I think everything is fine, Anda continued. Wow, you're so handsome. Your answer is really well organized. You're praising me too much, sir. It feels like I'm going to fly. Anda replied, chuckling. Ha, you deserve the praise. Don't forget to teach me how to shoot, Kunpin asked. Ready, sir. Anda saluted Kunpin. He then said goodbye to go home. Looka and Anda walked towards his car. I might be busy for a few days, because Chun's case will soon go to trial, Anda said, stroking Looka's hair. I understand. I'll be busy preparing for my graduation too. I'll definitely come. You have to come. If you don't come, I don't want to see you again. Oh, you're threatening me, Anda chuckled. Before I leave for Macau on duty. What ... Anda paused. Would you agree if we get engaged first? If we get married? I don't think there's enough time because it's too short, Anda asked while holding Looka's hand. How about fine? I'll accept it, Looka replied, hugging Anda. Thank you, honey. Anda kissed Looka's hair. Then he said goodbye. 1 month passed. Anda really kept his promise to come to Looka's graduation ceremony. Looka was so beautiful that Anda couldn't blink his eyes. He also asked Luka to take a picture. He wanted to capture this important moment for his lover. Luka received many good wishes from her family, friends, and best friends. Priwa and Anda's best friend also attended. Luka was proud of herself for being able to overcome the hardest phases of the past few years. Luka wiped away her tears that suddenly came out of her eyes when she saw Anda being so close with her family. Luka was also very grateful that on her important day, she also found the right person to accompany her. In another place, after Lukmai attended Luka's graduation ceremony, she immediately went to the courthouse. She had just officially divorced Kanchan. "Thank you for always being with me," she said to Adam. "You're welcome," Adam replied. "You're still the same as before," Lukmai said. "Yes, I'm still the same as I love you," Adam replied. "I'm really waiting for you to be a widow," Pin teased, approaching them. "She's almost crazy for the past 4 years," Pin revealed. Really?" Lukmai asked. "Ha ha ha. He's just kidding." "But it could be a fact." Adam walked away, leaving the two of them. "I'm so surprised that Adam can go crazy because of me." "Ha ha," Lukmai teased Adam. "Because I only feel love for you. I still remember when you were in college wearing Dora-style hair." "Ha ha," Adam replied. "Hey, you keep remembering that. It's so embarrassing." "But you're still beautiful," Adam replied, smiling. "Ahem, starting to be a lovesick fool," Pin teased. Lukmai and Adam just laughed. They got into Adam's car. A week later, Kanchan went through his trial calmly. He had entrusted everything to Anda. Kanchan was sentenced to 5 years, while Jenny was only 3 years. Both of them smiled at each other, holding hands tightly. "Fai, I'll keep visiting you," Noon said. "I'll be happy if you keep visiting me," Kanchan hugged Noon. "Fai, I want to marry Priwa. Do you agree?" Noon asked, making Priwa startled. "Of course, you can decide your happiness," Kanchan replied, smiling. "Priwa, please take care of this naughty child," Kanchan said. Priwa just nodded and smiled. It seems like I'm going to have more sisters," Jenny chuckled. "If so, you have to have more than 8 sons," Noon replied, immediately getting a slap from her brother. "If you want to have it, you can also have a program," Jenny said. "Hee hee, we can think about that later." "Fine," Priwa replied shyly. "Noon, you take care of the company. Remember, you're going to support a conglomerate's child. Don't make me ashamed," Kanchan warned Noon. Anda immediately laughed loudly, making everyone in the room look at him. Luka immediately pinched Anda's waist to stop him from laughing, because there was nothing funny at all about Kanchan's words. "Sorry," Anda mumbled. "You also have to feed him rice, not just love." "Okay, Fai." Noon hugged Kanchan again. Kanchan and Jenny went back into the detention cell, and everyone chose to go home. After attending Kanchan and Jenny's trial, Anda invited Luka for a pre-wedding photo shoot after getting engaged a week ago. Anda and Luka looked very compatible. He kept teasing Luka until she sometimes lost focus. After 5 hours, the pre-wedding photo shoot was finished. Anda leaned back on the sofa while waiting for Luka to change clothes. "The photos are very good," Mer said, showing some of the results. "You're really good, Mer." Anda gave Mer a thumbs up. After Luka changed clothes, both of them said goodbye. Today, Anda deliberately spent time with Luka, because tomorrow morning she had to leave for Macau on duty. He took Luka to eat ice cream, walked around the mall, and Anda deliberately dragged Luca to buy a lot of things even though Luca had refused. He also bought Luca a brand new Mini Cooper. You're so excessive, honey. Just think of it as me replacing your car. Because I'm not going to return your car. Haha, Anda smiled. Oh, you're going to make my car a decoration. Anda, that's annoying, Luca asked. Haha, of course, Anda replied, smiling. Luca gave up. She didn't want to argue with Anda anymore. The two of them continued their walk until they didn't realize that it was already 11 p.m. Anda took Luca to her house because Luca would accompany him to the airport. You should rest. We have to leave early tomorrow, Kunveng said. Okay, Dad. I'll go to my room first. Luca said goodbye. She followed Anda, who had already entered his room.